And let's just settle into a nice, comfortable, seated posture. For most of us, have our legs down, feet down on the floor, have them about a hip's width apart, shoulders are aligned with the hips. And imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light. Excuse me. And stretches from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just lengthen your spine. And breathe. Maybe you can just put a little bit of length in the back of the neck. Bring your awareness to the crown of the head and relax the scalp, the forehead, the eyes and nose, the cheeks, the mouth, the jaw, temples, back of the tongue, back of the head, the back of the neck. Allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat, the chest, and the belly, and all of your limbs, even your fingers and toes. And breathe again. And just notice, even doing that very small amount of inward focus, how that changes your breath, perhaps. And be aware if there's any sounds in your environment. Just allow those sounds to be there, trying not to follow them with the mind. And then just notice what thoughts are arising this evening. You know, you could do this meditation twice a day and still be fascinated by what's going on in the mind, and also by how it changes. You know, like we might be feeling really worried about something 1 hour, and then, 2 hours later it's gone. So just notice what's arising in the mind right now, and just remember that it's all impermanent. It does change constantly. Changes according to how much sunlight we have, how much exercise we've done today, what work we've got on, what's going on in our home, the time of the year, the temperature. And try not to judge what's going on in the mind. Maybe just allow the thoughts to arise like little bubbles, and then just let them release. So some of these thoughts don't really serve us well, so perhaps you can just pop them on a nice little white fluffy cloud and allow that cloud to float away. And then bring to mind all the people of your life and your loved ones, the near and dear. And don't forget to tell them you love them. I know it sounds so cliche, but with the loss of this man, Bill, he just went out for a bike ride with his friend and didn't come back. And then there's those ones in your life you have a little bit more, I don't know, aversion to, anxiety around, whatever. And then there's our strangers. They can all change place at any time, these relationships. And they're all equal in their wish to be happy, their wish to be free from suffering, and having this extraordinary capacity for Buddhahood. So I think we'll do this meditation for all these people of our life, and by extension, all the sentient beings. So we start by thinking there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, so equally we can change it by creating positivity instead. So we start this practice with the 4 opponent powers, the first of which is the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives, and think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. So having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of the future suffering that we ourselves will experience. And we know from our present suffering we don't want any more. Logically, it makes sense to remove these karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So we think, I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others, and then think again, I'm sick of this suffering, and then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come again now to the power of reliance. So the first of these is refuge. So it has two little sections, refuge and developing compassion. So we rely upon, we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor. So we're not looking for a higher power here. We're not looking for someone to kind of forgive us, to take all our stuff away. We're just looking for, a doctor to help heal ourselves. And we use their methods. So Vajrasattva very happily above the crown of your head, facing the same way as you. And you can also imagine this is your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. He has a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So here's our little section on developing compassion. And in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, so the very beings we have harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So we think of someone you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then think about those who have harmed you and have compassion for them, because they're going to suffer as a result of the harm they've done to you. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. So now we come to the power of the remedy, and we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. Excuse me. So then be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified. And just think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. Next is the purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of the mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's just the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you flick on that switch. The light that comes instantly dispels the darkness. So just imagine the moment the light hits your heart chakra, the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all the attachment and neediness, bitterness and grudges, anger, depression, resentment, jealousy, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left. Excuse me. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shiyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shiyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shiyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shiyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shiyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shiyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shiyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shiyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hompe So be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And imagine the Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shiyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satva A Hum Pe Ambajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satva a hum pe vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satva A Hum Pe. So now you feel you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve, and this is the final step in the purification process. So it's really crucial that we make a decision that we don't want to harm anything. And, with our body, our speech, and our mind. So this aspiration we develop in our heart to refrain from harming, it's kind of like becomes like guardrails. It's like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new directions, different directions, more positive directions. So, as Rinpoche used to say, everything exists on the tip of the wishes. So think of something you've been working on, rejoice in your efforts. And maybe if it's only for, you have a little angry thought and you just notice that you catch it. And then perhaps you can put that angry little thought on a white cloud and let that float away rather than having it come into your heart. But it's good to recognize it, let it go. And that way it doesn't do any harm anywhere. So we make a determination to not harm or to refrain from harming or to think about refraining from harming. And it gives us a little bit of direction. So imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind. He melts into white light and absorbs into your crown. And think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So then we meditate a little bit on emptiness. You can think like this. In emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So whatever level your mind understands emptiness, you just place it there for a moment. You can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And then we think, have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, and for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and for all of our own precious teachers.